Hi, boys and girls. We are in Mrs. Shoemaker's class today, and I want to review with you what suffixes are. And that is going to be what we're working on for our reading and our phonics this week. So for suffixes, those are words we put at the end of root words, and it changes the meaning of the word. So let's look at some of our spelling words this week that have the ness behind it. Now, ness means the state of. So when I talk about somebody that shows kindness, like our spelling word, kind, then you're going to add the suffix ness to the end. It's the state of being kind. Same for the word sadness. She was filled with sadness when she lost her puppy, the state of being. So when you are filled with sadness, you are just filled with that for a small amount of time. It's a state of being. One more spelling word, sickness. She experienced a sickness over the weekend. So N-E-S-S means the state of being kind, the state of being sad, state of being sick. The next suffix for this week's spelling words are the suffix L-E-S-S, less, and that means without. The spelling word for this week is useless. If something is broke, it is useless. It is without any use. Sometimes when I am driving and I am lost, I am clueless to where I am going. I am without a clue. That's why we have the suffix less. And then we have the suffix able to, able. So if I have the suffix A-B-L-E at the end of the root word, it means I'm able to do something. So I am writing so neat that it is readable. You're able to read it. Doable is another suffix that you can add at the base word or the root word of do. If you're able to do something, it is doable. And then the last suffix I'm going to talk about briefly is I-B-L-E. And that means the same as able, except it's in the past. Okay, so it's collectible. Collectible. The seashells were collectible last summer when we were at the beach. It's in the past. Collectible. I'm not going to go over this suffix as much as the other three, and you're going to see these suffixes being used in your spelling words for this week. Now I want to read to you a short story in my green chair. If you're in my class, you recognize this green chair. And it's called Happy Endings, a story about suffixes. The school year was winding down. The days seemed endless. Mr. Wright's students were excited about summer vacation. The word endings were excited too. Mr. Wright had written them on the board. Their turn had come at last. L-Y-I-N-G-S-E-S-E-R-Y, lessness, E-S-T. So these are all different suffixes that we are not going over this week, but they are suffixes that you see when you're reading. Mr. Wright announced this afternoon we'll be studying word endings or suffixes. Word endings are your friends. They help with tough words in reading. At that moment, every ending in the room was a happy ending. But the kids were in no mood for studying. Mr. Wright, you must be kidding. I'm not joking. The kids kept fussing. We're already smarter than we were when school started. Why bother learning something new? We'd rather be cleaning out our desks. Suffixes sound suffocating. Don't worry, I won't break. I know you kids are restless, said Mr. Wright. Nevertheless, next year you'll be expected to know word endings, but right now it's time to be lining up for the cafeteria. The kids forgot everything they learned about school rules and good manners. They butted and budged and pushed. Mr. Wright sent the rudest and noisiest kids to the end of the line. Being at the end is what you get for behaving so badly. As the kids walked away, Mr. Wright reminded them, after lunch and our read-alouds, we will tackle word endings. Watching and listening, the word endings were stunned. They're going to tackle us? Yikes! What does Mr. Wright mean by tackling us? Why would they do that? We're not the enemy, and we're not playing football, and we're being punished? Is that why we're at the end of these words? Of course not. We don't behave badly. Not every ending was a sad ending. We don't do anything wrong. It pays to be prepared. If Mr. Wright is serious about teaching the kids to tackle us, we should get in shape for tackling them back. Right? They're bigger than us. Fitness might help, but doesn't kindness win in the end? This situation is getting hairy. We are splitting out of here. The word endings slipped off the board. They headed for the gym to work out. No running in hall. Meanwhile, in the cafeteria, the kids were acting up. They were throwing food, yelling, and goofing off. After lunch, their exasperated teacher announced, "We're skipping read aloud. We're going right into studying word endings." The kids protested, "But it's the last chapter of A Scooper Dog Detective." "Well, you'll have to make up your own endings," said Mr. Wright. "It's time to tackle suffixes." He pointed at the board, then he stared. "Good grief," he said. "This is the craziest year of my teaching life. No summer vacation until the word endings are found. Seriously." "Vacation-less? We're doomed," groaned the kids. Suddenly, word endings were terribly important. The kids wanted them back. Where did the endings go? Maybe they were kidnapped. Yeah, like the puppy in Ace Scooper Dog Detective. We should be detectives and find them. We need clues. The kids got busy making and putting up posters. Meanwhile, in the gym, the suffixes were doing push-ups and pull-ups. They were running and jumping, bouncing and balancing. Finally, they felt stronger. They felt braver, too. They started back to the classroom. In the hall, they spotted the posters. Hey, the kids are looking at us. The word endings decided to hide and make up clues. This was their first big chance. This was their big chance to go first. Now all the word endings were hopeful endings. They hoped the kids would find them. They hoped they wouldn't be tackled after all. The kids found the clues in plain sight. At first they were impossible to read, but finally, we figured it out. The endings come first in these mixed up words. If we move them to the end where they belong, we can read the clues. Thanks to these clues, the kids exclaimed, we don't have to search endlessly. They talked Mr. Wright into letting them clean out their desks. Thank goodness we found you. Thank goodness this day is nearly over. Mr. Wright smiled and opened A Scooper Dog Detective to the last chapter. When he started to read, the kids settled down and listened. When Mr. Wright announced the end, everyone rejoiced. Finally, summer vacation stretched ahead, promising days of endless fun. Every ending leads to a new beginning. The end. And if you could have seen the pictures, you could see that a lot of the words had the suffixes that were in a different bold color. So I'm not sure if you were able to see that or not. But this is a great book to practice suffixes.